Good evening, welcome to the Town of Tewksbury Zoning Board of Appeals. Today is June 27th, 2024, and I'd like to call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is to approve the meeting minutes for May 30th, 2024.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes from May 30th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have an administrative role. We're going to push that out till next month because we're missing a couple of members today. So we're going to put that out for our July meeting. First on the packet is Brendan LaGrassa for a special permit under section 8.1.1C of Tewksbury zoning bylaw to raise the roof on the second floor and add dormers as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 21 Rhoda Street, Assessor's Map 71, Lot 66, zoned residential. Please come up to the podium. Name and address for the board, please, and tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
My name is Brendan LaGrassa. I own 21 Rhoda Street LLC, which owns 21 Rhoda Street. All we're looking to do is add 2 front dormers and a rear dormer, raising the roof. Not sure that's the correct term, but there will be a rear dormer. The roof ridge line is staying the same.
Okay.
All right, so the problem is the roof is going to be 23 feet from Herbert Road?
Yes, that is correct, sir.
It's not a height issue.
No.
It's too close to the property line. Why are we looking at it as an existing non-conforming?
That's what I was trying to figure out, looking at everything. I'm not seeing what he's talking about.
Because it doesn't say that in his denial letter.
Special permit, I mean, it's not really extend, alter, or change a non-conforming structure.
You filled out your application?
Yes,
Yeah, it says it on the thing here too. Never mind.
That's what he says. That's what I was trying to read, where he saw that, I don't.
What's the setback supposed to be?
25 feet.
25?
Wow. No, just 23.
23, was 25.
What's the proposed addition on this print?
The proposed addition is the garage, which is to the right side. That has already been approved and signed off on. We've already had excavation, footing, and foundation inspection
Okay, so you already have the permit for that?
for the garage, yes, sir.
Okay, I understand.
The dormers are just going into the existing house?
That is correct.
Did you need any special permits for the garage?
No, sir.
Okay.
And I apologize if I don't have all the answers you want.
No,
I've
no.
never done this before, and
No worries.
I did not expect this to happen.
Now, what we're looking at is, on your application and the denial letter from the building commissioner, you're asking for 8.1.1C is non-conforming structures, and that's a pre-existing non-conforming.
It's a roof.
Yeah, that would be, they said the existing house was non-conforming due to the fact it was 23 feet from the left side of the house to Hebert
Okay, so
Street.
you don't show any of your new dormers on this. The house now is 23 feet.
It's because.
Yes, but no dormers
That
are
makes sense
going,
now.
That explains it all.
It's clicking.
yeah, no
slowly.
dormers are going to the left. That's kind of where I lost
Yep,
kind of where this happened, but
that's, we get it. We understand.
Is the existing, the distance currently right now, 23 feet?
from the left side of 21 Rhoda Street to Hebert Street, it is 23 feet
Right now?
right now, and it is not extending an inch further that way.
So after you build the dormers and stuff, it's not, nothing's going to change, it's still going to be 23 feet?
Correct. That's why I said it was, when I first spoke, I thought it was the raise of the roof, because that's what they continued to say. Because I was raising the roof, I needed to get a special permit. But and I even went so far to change the plans through the architect to lower the roof, and I still needed a special permit.
You probably need the special permit to do the garage, too.
Yeah.
They just didn't catch it. I have no further questions.
I don't know. Dan, do you have any?
So Herbert Street is not, the house doesn't face Herbert Street, right?
Correct,
It's
it's
the side.
facing Rhoda Street.
But because it's on that street, it has to go by the 25, not the 15-foot
Right.
setback. I don't have any further questions.
It being a public hearing, does anybody have anything they want to add? Somebody like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Approved.
I would like to make a motion
Yep.
to approve Brenna LaGrassa for a special permit under section 8.1.1, section C of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to raise the roof on the second floor and add dormers. As shown on plans filed with this board, said property is located at 21 Rhoda Street, assessors map 71, lot 66, zoned residential.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You're approved. Thank
Thank you very much. I don't want to bug you guys with, so where do I go from here?
you. You should probably follow up tomorrow and ask them what's
Okay.
next. I'm sure after they hear the minutes and they go through everything.
Okay,
Usually get an
So
approval
you
letter.
will get an approval letter.
I appreciate it very much.
No worries.
Have a great night.
You
Thank you.
too, good luck. Next, we have Brandon Cook on behalf of Donald and Lori Payne under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 8, as a party aggrieved by a decision made by the building inspector in an email dated May 13, 2024, to recognize a second dwelling unit. Said property is located at 91 Roland Drive, Assessors Map 71, Lot 7, zoned residential. Name and address for the board, please.
Good evening, my name is Brendan Cook. I represent the applicants, Lori Payne and Donald Payne, who are here. They reside at, it's 91 Ronald Drive, just so the record's clear. And this is, like you said, an appeal requesting a determination from the board that an addition that was built on their house in 1987 is a lawful, both a pre-existing non-conforming use and structure as a second dwelling unit at the property. So just some background on what was built. It was constructed in 1987 pursuant to a building permit that was issued indicating 576 square feet of land. But the proposed use indicated on the building permit was a two-car garage with 2 doors for the garages. I've spoken, and it's been submitted into the record, an affidavit from Shane Cogliano, who was the son of the applicant, Salvatore Cogliano. The record owner at the time, Shane ultimately owned the property from 2001 to 2003. And his affidavit confirmed that the reason the addition was built was as a second dwelling unit for his sister, who was returning from Israel at the time. He spoke with his father. His father always proposed it as a second dwelling unit. So there's really no indication from anywhere I could find as to where that discrepancy on the building permit came from. But I was asked by the Paynes to take a look at it and ultimately submit a letter to Leo requesting a determination, really to clarify the status of the property as a pre-existing non-conforming use. And that's really based on 2 different issues, which I tried to point out in my letter responding to the DCD's expansion on Leo's denial. There's a use issue and a structure issue here. They're split under Chapter 40A. So the structural issue I find a little easier to sort of breeze through, and it's really that Chapter 40A, Section 7 has a provision that any structure built without a building permit is protected from any enforcement action after 10 years if no enforcement action is taken. That ultimately, by the language of the statute, must be deemed a pre-existing non-conforming structure. And the DCD's letter is correct in pointing out that under that 10-year provision, you can't get use protections. But in this instance, the use actually, the protections stem from the 1987 zoning bylaws when the structure was, or when the use began, excuse me, which at the time allowed a second dwelling unit to be constructed at a property as of right in a residential district where this property was located. So at the time the use began, it was protected by the zoning bylaws. Subsequently, they changed. I believe it was 2008, but the Internet Archive was a little spotty on the record. But I believe it was 2008 that a special permit requirement was eventually implemented for an in-law apartment, which is really the closest analogy today to what the second dwelling unit in the zoning bylaws allowed in 1987. But, I wanted to clarify some things in the record there. The town's been taxing this property as a multifamily and then subsequently as an in-law since 1994. So the Paynes have been paying essentially like it's a multifamily. And I actually just found out today that the assessor's office had, because of the building permit discrepancy, they were double taxing the garage and the in-law based on the rates that were being applied because of this discrepancy. They've actually been overpaying the last, roughly 20 years that they've owned the property. And then secondly, they came in, they bought this property as an in-law. It's always been an in-law to them. It was never raised in their purchasing process. And it was raised, actually caught by their realtor in their sales process. And we're trying to, essentially clarify the record here and correct it before they go into the sales process more heavily.
So that's what got you here, you're selling the house.
What was that, sorry?
That's what got you here, is you're selling the house? You're not trying to do anything?
Yes, it was flagged by their realtor,
Yeah.
and we were looking for a way to correct it, and it seemed like this was, the most appropriate way.
So it was built as an in-law?
Yes, it was.
And the discrepancy is, the building permit says 24 by 24 garage with second floor storage?
Yes. The proposed use essentially is a garage, and it was constructed as a second dwelling unit.
Do you have a plumbing permit when it was built?
There was no plumbing permit issued with it.
No electrical permit, no, just a building
It was
permit?
just that singular building permit that was issued.
Does it look like a garage? How did we call it a
It
garage?
does not look like a garage.
No, there's no
There's
doors
never
or
been
anything.
garage doors on it.
It's essentially a gabled, the dimensions are correct but it's a gabled roof on the right side of the house if you're looking from the street. But the plans that were submitted with the building permit are accurate as to its location with the breezeway and
Are those plans in your packet here?
yes, they were attached as an exhibit. It's connected to the building permit that was attached as well.
One more page.
Oh, so sorry, that's the incorrect plan that was submitted with the Department of, I'm blanking on the name here, Community Development's response letter. The plans that were submitted with the building permit, it's the correct building permit, but the plans that we're submitting with the building permit are on my memorandum.
Where did this come from?
So that is the other garage that was permitted at the property. It was built in 1971.
So there's already a garage there as well?
Yes.
There was a garage there when the permit was pulled in 1987 for a second garage to be built.
Yes.
Well, you didn't build a second garage, you built an in-law or a family suite, or whatever we wanted to call it back in 1987, right?
Yeah, it was constructed as a second
Prior owner,
dwelling
yeah.
unit, yes.
And that garage on this print was built in 1971?
If I remember the permitting history correctly,
Give it-
yeah, it was
give it to me.
1971. And those plans match what's currently existing at the property.
It wasn't built anywhere near 1987?
No. Not at least from the paper record. I wasn't alive at the time, so unfortunately, I have no personal knowledge of it, but the paper record shows it was 1971.
I'm just trying to find the print. Do you remember what exhibit you put it in? A, B, C?
I believe it should be 3 or 4. Let me see. Oh, I apologize. It wasn't a exhibit to the memorandum. It was just submitted with the application paperwork as the certified plot plan.
Okay.
So the first page should be the building permit, and the second page should be the layout there.
Well, the first page,
I didn't see a plot plan.
you get the building permit, you get the original print. Usually they're all the way in the back of the packet. There's the deed.
I have a copy of it here if you'd like to take a look at it.
I'd love to see that.
Here,
Oh, where is it?
way in the back,
That was just there.
found it. And that one, and then we have the one before it. I think so. Thank you, yes.
Thank you. What do you know?
You got it? Way in the back. Under Exhibit B, down the end. About 4 pages from the end.
I got it.
So you don't have, in this packet, you don't have the plan that you submitted for the 1987 permit?
Yes, so that should be this one here. That was what was submitted with the 87 permit.
It doesn't show what you're building.
Oh, those are these.
It's that portion on the right side that says 24 by 24, and then it's a little tough to read, but the connecting breezeway is 12 by 12.
Then
That's the
where's
proposed
where's the
structure.
garage that was built in 71?
So this plan predates, this is essentially the original plot plan from the property, and the applicant just basically added to it to indicate where the proposed structure was going.
So this doesn't show the 24 by 24 garage that was built in 1971?
No, you can see there on the top right, it says 42771, buyer Salvatore F. Cogliano. Best I can tell, he pulled this from the Registry of Deeds at the time to have a plot plan to show the location of the structure.
So he probably didn't pull a permit to build the garage, maybe?
In 71, that is in the building jacket with the building inspector's office.
That's like when the house was built, right? 271-ish? I don't know.
It's in the memo too from Ms. Lauder. Was the initial intent to build a garage? I'm confused on why a garage permit was pulled, but a single family.
No, from speaking with Shane Cogliano, who, like I said, was the subsequent owner after his father, and he resided there while his father owned it, it was always intended to be a dwelling unit for his sister. You know, he was really as surprised as anyone to receive the news that the building permit indicated it was for a garage.
He's the one that pulled the permit?
No, his father did, Salvatore.
Father is the one that
Yeah.
pulled the permit?
Yeah, the original owner of the property. He bought it when it was subdivided, Salvatore did. And again, just to reiterate the point that the building permit, or Chapter 48, Section 7, protects structures without a building permit, any building permit whatsoever.
Lawful ones, though.
Just structures.
Things that are built lawfully within the town.
No,
Not if they're
the
done
text of the
unlawfully.
statute says if it's built without a building permit, if there's no enforcement action within 10 years, the structure itself is protected. It's a lawful, pre-existing, non-conforming use, or, excuse me, structure.
Are all the utilities separate for each dwelling?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the way we bought it.
Yeah, we haven't, yeah. We were shocked when we found this out, because we had no idea that
You
this
didn't
was
have any issues
even
when
a
you guys
thing.
bought the house?
We bought the house, they told us it was an in-law, the town came out when we bought the house, right, they did inspections, whatever. Never an issue, we've been paying taxes on it as an
Why would
in-law.
the town come out to inspect it when you?
Well, I mean, when the fire department came out,
Yeah.
right, when you buy a house, right?
They really wouldn't know.
So,
they
okay,
wouldn't know.
well, that's what they said, that's how this would all,
The realtor told us that when the fire department comes out to do their smoke detector inspection, they're gonna flag the second kitchen. So that's why we were trying to get ahead of it. So we contacted the building
Yeah.
inspector, and he didn't wanna hear it, and that was it.
yeah, we bought it as, like it is, we had my father-in-law, we bought it because we needed an in-law for my father-in-law to live in. My son came home from the military after my father-in-law passed, he lived there for a couple of years, he now bought a house and moved on, and we just want to sell the house like we bought it.
I guess what I'm stuck on is you're asking us to make a determination with the building inspector's determination, but you're not asking us for anything.
We're essentially asking for an order or a determination of a finding of fact that it's both a pre-existing non-conforming use and a pre-existing non-conforming structure. So as of right now, the property sort of sits in limbo, because if you were going to start this today, you'd have to go to the planning board, get a special permit for an in-law, and comply with the requirements. But whereas this is, it's older, it was constructed at the time the use was allowed as of right, and it's outside of that 10-year window, it's, as it sits currently, it's a pre-existing non-conforming use.
Did you put the zoning bylaw in 1987 in your package?
The relevant portions, yes, are attached. It's the last exhibit on the memorandum.
Exhibit 3 or C?
They should be, they were photos. I couldn't photocopy them, but they were, the substance of what the second dwelling unit is that note 8. Should be exhibit D there. And then exhibit C preceding it at the end.
Sorry, I should have stuck my finger in it. We got 20 years of tax bills, tax records?
Dating back to 94 when it started, yes, that was the earliest it went back.
Found it.
You're referencing section 6, chapter 40?
So the use would be protected under Section 6, and ultimately the structure would as well, because the chapter, or Section 7.
Yeah, and the one in chapter 7 says that it's only available for chapter 6 if it's used in accordance with the terms of the original building permit. Uses which do not comply with the terms of the original building permit do not benefit from the protection.
Yeah, so there's two statute of limitations in Section 7. There's a 6-year and a 10-year. The 6-year protects uses and structures if they're built in accordance with a building permit. The 10-year provides a longer statute of limitations for enforcement for municipalities,
So if you-
but it protects any structure, not a use, but any structure that's built and no enforcement action is bringing within 10 years. It's deemed a pre-existing non-conforming use. So what I tried to clarify in my June 25th letter, that the provision we were relying on was that third paragraph of Section 7, not the 6-year statute of limitations that was cited by the Community Development Office.
Do you know which exhibit it was?
It should just be a letter with the Berluti, McLaughlin, and Cutchin letterhead on it that's dated June 25th. I have the language here if you'd like to see it.
Sure.
On your copy of the bylaws, right, from 87, I assume you're pointing to number 3, multifamily dwellings?
No, it would be that 5 there, 2-family detached dwellings.
Okay. Did you photocopy the notes?
Yes, it's the second page, the third page following that.
Got it.
Top of it's page 29.
Does that second structure conform to everything in note 8?
Yeah, so it's 24 by 24, so it's 576 square feet, and the building's always been owner occupied.
One bedroom?
Yeah, I believe there's 1 bedroom in there. Yes.
I'd like to do a little more research on the Tewksbury zoning bylaws of 1978,
78?
87, excuse me. Because there's a lot in that note 8,
There's a lot there.
there's a lot there, and it references other sections.
I just had it. I was just reading them.
If in fact what they're saying is true, that it was just a building permit mistake, which I don't understand why we wouldn't have electrical permit, plumbing permit, there's a lot of other permits. At a garage, you could build with no electrical, no plumbing. Typically don't, but I'm confused why there's nothing there.
It was 1987.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you're going to speak, you need to come up to the table.
Come up
You're
to
more
the
than welcome to
podium.
slide a chair up or go sit at the podium.
Please.
Either way, but you got to get on mic. Because I do want to hear what you have to say. So I'd like you to go on a mic.
I'd just like to say that, I mean, in 1987, since 1987, there's been a lot that's happened, right? With building permits, permits missing,
Oh, I know.
stuff like that.
We know.
In 2003, we were allowed to buy the house like this, and I really don't understand why it's got to be a problem when we're trying to sell our house. We were allowed to buy it like this, and why can't we sell it? It's been there since 1987. It was
Well,
never.
did you have the fire department come out yet?
No.
So you're going on speculation that the fire department would have caught it.
Well,
You're
no.
trying to do the right thing. You could have
We're
kicked
trying
it
to
down
do
the road
right,
to the
yeah,
next
we're
buyer.
trying
So what they indicated to me, I spoke with the fire department, is anytime they see a second kitchen, they check the building jacket for a special permit from the planning board. And if that's not there, they essentially hand it off to the building
Right, but
inspector.
The people you bought the house from, maybe they didn't know, and they just sold the house. So you're trying to do the right thing. I get what you're trying to do.
Right.
You're trying to do the right thing, but we have to do the right thing as well. So,
I mean, but we've been paying taxes on it
I
double
understand.
for 20 years.
I understand.
And it should be grandfathered in.
grandfather's a tough word. Grandfather's a tough word. Because you're trying to grandfather in something that never was.
Because if we were grandfathering something in, we would have just grandfathered in a garage.
Well, so that's where the
Right, but it
two
was-
separate issues
Right.
come from, is the structure and the use.
Exactly,
The
but it-
use isn't contingent upon the building permit.
Well, it's more
It
than
was
the
as of
structure.
right.
But-
It's more than the structure.
It is
'cause
more.
The permit says it's a garage, and it's a single-family dwelling, essentially.
Yeah, and that's what chapter 48, section 7 comes in, where even if there was no building permit anywhere for this, it would be protected without an enforcement action after 10 years.
Right.
As a pre-existing non-conforming structure.
But, is what's there correct? Right? Because it was never inspected. Is the kitchen right? Is the bedrooms right?
So that would be a state building code issue, which is outside the scope of chapter 40A.
Kind of where we are. Building code, permits, things like that.
Well, the ZBA's jurisdiction is chapter 40A. The building
Right.
code is
Right.
sort of outside of that.
I'm with you, but we still got to think about it.
No, understood.
I'm unclear exactly on what he's asking for, just you want us to order, just say that it's a two-family dwelling?
We need a finding in the building jacket, essentially, that
You
it's a,
don't get that from the planning board?
no, because the pre-existing non-conforming structures is the jurisdiction of the ZBA under the zoning bylaws. So if we were going to go for the special permit from the planning board, it would obviously go to the planning board, but, as far as we're arguing, it is a
So our
lawful.
determination is whether it's non-conforming or whether it's conforming?
If it is
If it's
a
not
pre-existing
conforming, it falls under
non-conforming
chapter
structure and
40.
use.
If it's not considered non-conforming, then it doesn't fall under there.
Because the building inspector essentially made the determination that it's not, because it doesn't have a planning board special permit, which
Right.
wasn't in effect at the time the use began.
Here. That's what she wrote there.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right, so that's what we're really,
We have to go look at that.
see what Alex wrote?
What'd you find? Yeah, everything. See what we're reading?
What was that, sorry?
What we are reading from our.
Yes, I've seen that. That's the letter from today from, is it Ms. Louder?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It would require a special permit, because we can't, I don't think we can just say, yeah, the building commissioner's wrong, go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Good luck.
why I'm trying to look through all this, and it just doesn't make any sense to.
It's part of the appeals process in 40A. I believe it's Section 8, but I forget the exact section number. You know, it's a pretty broad appellate right of any determination of the building inspector. And whereas here, this is essentially a threshold issue as to how the property's treated. It seemed like the only appeals course was to hear to the ZBA to take a look at his determination.
Where is this article you're talking about with, if it's been there longer than 10 years?
It's Chapter 48, Section 7.
Do you have it in your paperwork?
I
do.
believe the language is cited in the memorandum, but there's a block quote there from the letter that was submitted on June 25th.
His paperwork, June 13th?
No, it was the response letter to that. It should be dated June 25th. I brought a copy up to Mr.
There's
Texera.
so many, sorry.
I know.
If you throw away all the tax bills, it makes it easier. I've seen that. Okay.
That's the one in that area, yep.
Can you give me a brief overview of what Exhibit 3 is?
This is to the original memorandum.
Yes.
Yeah, so these were the assessor's tax records, just dating back. It goes year by year. Each page is a different year for the property. At 91 Laurel Drive, there's a few properties on there. But it indicates that the tax code is taxed as either a multifamily, and then at some point it switched to the in-law code, just to demonstrate the length of use that this has been going on for.
Do you have the originals? Because I can't read any of these.
I can send them to the board. I know they
If you
printed.
could.
These are just what I got
If you want to just
from.
highlight where the change happens?
Yeah, I
the
can
tax
absolutely do that.
increase goes?
Yeah.
If you want to highlight that, that'd be great. And it's all just more tax information in Exhibit 3?
Yeah, Exhibit 3 is all the tax records going back to 1994, up to the most current year.
I would like maybe some clarification from town council on Chapter 48. Validate the excerpts that we're seeing are valid and lawful,
Yep,
and go from there.
yep. Yeah, and I'd like a little more clarification on what we're doing.
Yeah, what are we approving?
Because I don't think having a party aggrieved to the building commissioner's determination is going to magically get them a permit for the building that's there.
I don't think we're asking for any permit. I
Oh, you
think-
are, you are, because you want the structure that's there to be legal, right? And in 1987, when it was built, a permit was pulled for a two-car garage. So to make that legal, you can't grandfather something that, in my opinion, you can't grandfather something that was never legal to begin with.
Well, that's exactly what Section 7 does, under Chapter 40A.
I disagree with you.
Okay,
I
we can have town
disagree with
council
that.
review it.
That's why
Yeah,
we want to
Get
talk
the
to council.
clarification,
okay.
verify.
And I will just highlight for the board too, so it's on the record there, that we had both direct abutters submit letters in support, seeking to keep it there, and that's really what it's about, is trying to keep the status quo that's been there.
Do you mind if we do a site drive-by, site walkthrough, just to see what it looks like?
No,
outside?
I mean, honestly, we've lost 2 months. I wanted to sell my house in May, you know, it's not your fault, but I just don't know how long this process is gonna take. I mean, I can show you a picture of the house, if that will help you.
Well, I don't think we're prepared to make a determination tonight anyways.
Okay.
You want to have anybody else speak?
I mean, are we pushing this out a month? Come back in a month and review it?
Yep.
Well, we can't make the decision at this time. It's not our fault either. Do you want me to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing?
No,
No,
No.
no, because you want to continue it.
right. Want to make a motion to continue
What's next month's meeting?
July
25th?
25th?
I'd like to make a motion to postpone,
To continue here.
to continue Brendan Cook on behalf of Donald and Laurel Payne under Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 8, as a party aggrieved by a decision made by the building inspector in an email dated May 13th, 2024, to recognize a second dwelling unit. Said property is located at 91 Ronald Drive, Assessor Map 71, Lot 7, Zoned Residential, to July 25th, 2024.
No second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So we'll see you. We apologize, but we've got to do our due diligence as well.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you need from us? We don't waste like another month, like?
If you want to direct anything to me, we can go back and forth with it.
That tax information, if you could
Yeah,
specify
absolutely.
that, show it so that we can see it.
Yeah,
That'd be
and if the board will consider it, I could put together a proposed order for your consideration, just to see some kind of language.
I believe this is a first, so we definitely need to speak to town council.
Sure.
Just find out what exactly we need to approve, because we don't even know how to say yes. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
So on that one, we're still going to need them, town council, to give us information or give us more clarity on
What we're approving.
what we're approving.
Yeah, and we want to have them explain to us Section 40A, Section 6, 7, and 8, and validate that he's stating after 10
Harrison.
years whether or not it was lawful or unlawful. It's excused.
Right,
So we need that clarification.
okay. Next on the agenda is nothing else. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.